Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're joined by Paul Moradkhan. He's the Senior Vice President for Government Affairs for the Las Vegas Metro Chamber, for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
The holidays are upon us, a time of celebration, family gathering, and gratitude. There are gifts to be wrapped, feasts prepared, love shared, and memories made. Life is precious, so let us cherish each other and all that we have. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We thank you for letting us enrich your lives, and thank you for your support throughout the year. Happy holidays.
RANNV.org.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Nevada Newsmakers tapings in Las Vegas are brought to you by the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program Paul Moradkhan. He is Senior Vice President of Government Affairs for the Las Vegas Metro Chamber, and this is where we are taping. And thank you very much for hosting us again.
Of course. Welcome back.
Thank you. So many issues to talk about. The first one is, in my conversations here in Las Vegas, it seems that we are really in a time of growth versus no growth or limited growth, between the water issues, the Center for Biological Diversity. It seems to be coming up with all kinds of plants that are endangered, that 5 of them exist in the entire world. It's like the speckled dace that we've dealt with for years. What are your thoughts? Are we really in that battle at this point?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think as we're looking at growth and expansion in the Valley of homes, of course, and businesses, part of that is water stability, like you said. I think the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been a great partner with the business community, ensuring that we have stable water sources. They've done a phenomenal job of conservation efforts, banking water on the Colorado River. They're a leading expert on the international scene on water management. So I think the water is for Southern Nevada secure. We know that. That's important to our businesses. In terms of growth, I mean, obviously growth impacts affordable housing. There's conversations about what that looks like. How do you address those concerns? There are numbers out there saying that we need 30,000 more units of affordable housing. So that's part of the conversation the business community is having about what that looks like. What role does local government play in that? What role do the builders have? What role does the government have in that? And obviously, you're right. There is a conversation right now going on: is it growth or no growth? And the Chamber of Commerce believes reasonable and responsible growth is the way to go. We believe you have to have that balance with environmentalism concerns. At the same time, though, you need development and economic development to grow the economy.
Well, the other thing too is that during the recession, we had 100,000 construction workers out of work. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point in time, if you're a construction worker and you want a job, you have a job anywhere in the state of Nevada.
Which is a great problem.
It's a wonderful problem to have. But when you look at companies who are going to be building homes, they're looking to obviously make the most money, sure. And the middle level and the upper level are the places where they're going to make the most money. When you have a construction worker shortage, it's going to be harder and harder, sure. to build affordable housing.
Well, no, absolutely. And there's the labor side of that and the cost of doing business and construction. You're absolutely right. But there's also the component of the role of city government or county government on building licensing fees, the processes, but also on the availability of land. And in Southern Nevada, we know, of course, there's quite a bit of holding by the the Bureau of Land Management, BLM. Nevada, as many folks know, has almost 87% of federally controlled land. So there's part of that is the disposal of those lands becoming available for construction, for residential growth, commercial growth in Southern Nevada. Northern Nevada has a housing shortage also, but theirs are a little different with the way how theirs have been brought upon. But obviously, the more land that's released for development down south, that would help.
All right, so that brings us to the lands bill.
Sure.
I mean, for a while, there was discussion of having an omnibus lands bill because there's so many lands bills that are up for discussion at this point in the state.
Sure.
But in talking to Senator Reed, he said that it will be better to do them one by one rather than trying to do an omnibus bill. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we've done it both ways over the years, right? So a couple years ago, it was a large omnibus bill. Previously, there was a separate bill. So whatever appetite there is the way we're going to support the bills. The chamber is supportive of the public land bill that's being worked on right now. We believe that's important for economic development. So we've worked with the cities and the county on that conversation, and it was part of our federal priorities when we went back to DC in September with our delegation.
Okay, so at this point, if you were a gambling man, and I'm not sure you are, I mean, where would you say the odds are of being able to get a lands bill?
I think we still have a window of opportunity to get it done, and I think there's a lot of invested stakeholders. There are some folks who want to see different components incorporated into that bill. There are some environmental concerns, of course. There's some business concerns of what it looks like, and the cities and the county need to have the bill work for them also. So I think that right now there's still a lot of those discussions occurring. What is the best option to move forward? But the chamber is supported on the principle of the public land bill, and we are supportive of moving it forward.
The topic of Ivanpah Airport has come up again. Marilyn Kirkpatrick was on the program a couple of days ago, and she was talking that she potentially has 10 more years on the county commission, and that she thinks that Ivanpah is going to be open before she's done. Does that sound right to you?
Well, I mean, we are supportive of the project. We have been for years. So part of those conversations is, as you're looking at the expansion of the airport and McCarran to go through Ivanpah, we are supportive. 10 years would be great. I know their plan originally was a 20-year build-out, and so 10 years later.
Right, I mean, so it's dropped by a decade.
I could definitely see where Maryland's coming from on that, and I think that would be extremely important to have that secondary airport for tourism and travel.
Do people realize that that would be essentially creating another city?
I don't know if...
It's 18. Right now, they have 18,000 acres.
Right. I mean, I think right now the focus is about just the actual airport development. So I don't know if there's been a lot of conversations about what other infrastructure will need to come into that.
Well, she's talking about industrial, commercial, and some residential.
And that would make sense. I mean, anytime you build a new airport, you have those components going to it. Right now, we're trying to make sure that as the public land bills go forward, there are no hindrances on the development of Ivanpah. That's where we're focused on.
And at one point, there was conversation about light rail between Las Vegas and Ivanpah. Is that something that you envision in the short term, or is that something that's going to be longer term?
I mean, we're supportive of Virgin Trains USA. They're building their project from California to Las Vegas, so we're supportive of that project. On the specifics of if another rail would go through, I think we're deferring our efforts to the U.S. Virgin Trail project right now.
Okay, were you surprised, pleased to see Virgin Rail come in? Because this project has been talked about for so many years.
No, absolutely, and Chamber's been supportive of the concept, but it's rare for us to endorse a specific project. But I think they have a proven track record where they've done in Florida. They have their financing in place. They're securing the bonds from Nevada, the activity bonds. They've done that in California. So we do support the project. We think it's the right step forward to help with tourism, but also help with congestion on I-15.
It's interesting. The Clark County Commission just voted their support of this project. The bonding process didn't go through at the last legislative session. Do you think they will have a smoother ride going forward? Pardon the pun there.
Sure, no, of course. And if they want to pursue that option, I think that's something we would definitely look into supporting. Right now, though, it seems that they're in a good place where they do their financing. People are pleased with what they've done in Florida. So, and you're able to point to a successful project. And what they've done in Florida is they've built a station, built the lines, and they've revitalized the neighborhoods. And I think that's something we definitely think would be a good thing for our community also.
All right, let's take a break.
All right.
More with Paul Moradkhan when we come back.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia.
Yeah. Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Paul Moradkhan. He is Senior Vice President for Government Affairs for the Las Vegas Metro Chamber. I know it's hard to believe, but we're already talking about the 21 session.
We are. We only have 11 months to go.
Holy moly. So we're all packing our bags for Carson City. But what are the top issues that the Chamber has for the next session?
The session is, election's 11 months out, session's 13 months out. So we're already seeing identifying topics for our membership. We know labor laws will be another issue, education, K through 12. Higher education will also be part of the
Okay, so let's stop there and
Sure.
talk about K through 12. The discussion has been for a couple of years now, despite the increase in funding that we've already seen, that we still need $1 billion more. Chris June Kiliani was talking about this during her failed run for governor. Ruben Murillo started the conversation from NSCA. Is $1 billion really the number? Is that just one that we just throw out every couple of years to say that's what we need?
Well, I think that's a good question, but I think for most folks, there was a massive tax increase in 2015 to support additional funding in education.
And it was what, 1.2 billion?
1.2 billion, that came from the business community. So, it came from small, large, medium businesses. Either you're paying more biz licensing fees, modified business tax, or the commerce tax. So the business community stepped up across the board, members in all industries support that with accountability, of course, and transparency. So the fact that 4 years later we're going to have another conversation about another $1 billion, the Chamber will be at the table because we need to know how it's going to impact our membership, where the money is going to be spent. We'll go straight to the classroom. Where will those dollars go? What is the return on investment? Because at the end of the day, the Chamber believes as much money as possible is going to be released should go directly to the students in the classroom. Those are our biggest assets and investment from the business community.
And that, to me, always seems to be the most beneficial for the taxpayer is when the taxpayer actually knows where that money is going to go to. Because I think with the marijuana tax, there was a lot of frustration about the fact that that money didn't go 100% to education, as that was the original plan.
Sure, and I think this past session you saw you saw Speaker Firestone and Assemblywoman Meg Carlton's chair Ways and Means to fix that. So it's very clear that marijuana money is now going straight to education. There's no transferring of dollars. It didn't go somewhere else. It was very clear it was going to education. The Chamber did support that. We felt it was very important to make clear those dollars were going to go to education.
What did you think about the idea of this commission that the governor has to deal with marijuana rather than allowing smoking lounges and other things to move forward here in Southern Nevada?
I think Governor Selleck took the right step by doing that. We're the gold standard for the Game Control Board and Game Commission, and that was done by Governor Grant Sawyer. And that was something he was proactive on. I think it was the right step for the governor to be proactive in creating this marijuana control board based off of the Gaming Control Board composition to show the feds that the state's being proactive. There's going to be transparency. There's going to be measures. There's going to be checks and balances. I think it was the right step for that particular industry.
It's interesting in California, where we were just recently, before we came here to Las Vegas, everywhere you go, you smell marijuana. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And that is not the case in Las Vegas.
No, but I mean, what's interesting is that they just passed a increase on the marijuana sales tax in California, which is actually causing an interesting component with the black market out there. So it's interesting to see how they're regulating and how we're taking an approach in Nevada. And I would say we're on the right path on how we're regulating the industry compared to what maybe California is doing right now.
Let's turn to higher education.
Sure.
One of the big issues, obviously, for Southern Nevada is a new president for UNLV.
Yep.
Your thoughts on this?
So there's a search committee that's been in place. Our CEO, Mayor Betsy Will, is on this search committee. It's an advisory committee to the Board of Regents. So the Chamber felt it was absolutely important to engage in the process. UNLV is our leading institution in Southern Nevada. The role they play in Nevada State College and College of Nevada are all important. But when you're looking at your major four-year degree institution, you want to ensure there's a permanent president. So obviously, we want to see someone selected through the search process, and our CEO serving on that committee.
Were you surprised that Tom Riley ended up with such a short tenure?
I think being a chancellor has a lot of responsibilities. It's a large system, but I think Tom is well regarded for his management style.
Amazing.
And I think 3 years is giving 3 years that commitment was a great thing for him to do. And I know he's ready for his next chapter of his career, but I think he's trying to bring stability and credibility to that role.
Yeah, and that was not an easy job.
It's not a job I would never want, so.
To say the least. All right, let's take another break. We'll be back with more with Paul after this.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
One of the most psychologically damaging things parents can do to children in divorce
is disparage one another, which is why I can't believe I even have to make this commercial.
Half of your kids' genetics come from this person you're spewing hate about. Your children have the right to love you both, but more than that, they deserve to love themselves.
Marilyn York might be a men's rights divorce attorney, but this is for every selfish parent. Shut up!
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Paul Moradkhan. He is Senior Vice President of Government Affairs at the Las Vegas Metro Chamber. Again, it just seems like we're in the never-ending election cycle, but already we're looking at candidates for the next session. And of course, with term limits, we have this huge turnover. And also, it seems to me, and obviously you're a greater observer of the political scene than anybody, it seems that people are serving in jobs whilst looking for the next job constantly now.
I mean, I think term limits have had an interesting impact. And Sam, you've covered Carson for decades. You used to see folks serving 10, 20 years in the roles, and there were term limits that capped them at 12. So you're seeing a much shorter career in the legislative building. So the typical legislator now, from our data, looks about 6 years. So that is a lot of turnover. You're seeing about every single year about maybe a third of new third of elected officials. So out 63, that's about 20 or so. So that's incumbent on the chamber and other trade groups and the business community and labor and unions to help be advocates for their organizations with these new legislators. So definitely it's a more work, but that's what we're here for. But you're constantly having to educate folks on issues on taxation, on education, something we may have discussed 10 years ago. You wouldn't have to historically had to bring it back up, but now you have to have the conversation every single session. So we're constantly educating folks, pouring money into research dollars, so folks can have that data available to them and stuff.
And really, that's I think the biggest thing that we've lost is institutional knowledge.
Oh, absolutely, because now it's upon the lobbyists to be your institutional knowledge. Well, before you would have legislators and committee chairs who've been in the building for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So it does change the dynamics without a question.
Yeah, and I still get mad at Sig Rogic for spearheading that, but he's still my good friend. Let's talk now about some local issues.
Sure.
We had Mayor Goodman on the program a couple of days ago, and obviously the Las Vegas City Council is moving ahead with this ordinance on the homeless issue.
Sure.
What's the chamber's position on this?
No, and that's a great question. And the chamber did support the ordinance that was put forward by the mayor and the city council. And the reason we did support it was we had members who are in the business community, of course, in downtown, the city of Las Vegas, who have concerns about how the homeless population was impacting their businesses. Now, we think the ordinance is a tool. We don't think it's a comprehensive solution, but it's another component that we felt that the council had made a valid argument on about the policy needs, and that Metro would have some enforcement mechanism on that. So we did support the ordinance at the city council meeting.
And in terms of building affordable housing, does that become the responsibility of the marketplace, or does that become really the responsibility of government when the marketplace is so
Sure.
involved in building projects already?
I think part of it is what's causing the affordable housing prices to go up. Is it the market? Is it government regulations? Is it business licensing? Is it construction codes? Is it Is it labor demand? So when all those do come together, then you have that perfect storm where you do see the housing increases. Excuse me. But to my understanding, though, actually looking at some reports yesterday, the housing prices are supposed to level off in 2020. So we'll see if the market self-corrects. But there are factors that are beyond the control of builders that impact housing costs. So for example, if the BLM doesn't release more land for development, that's something that's outside the control of the business community or builders. We're at the mercy of the federal government when they release the land for development.
Have you looked at what's going on in the city of Reno with them, backing off on some of the costs to builders to get them to
A little bit. I mean, but obviously Reno has some different dynamics than we do in Southern Nevada.
You know what? Truthfully, I'm not so sure that the dynamics are really that different. I mean, you have a growing community,
Sure.
Booms in both areas of the state. Obviously, a smaller financial size boom in Northern Nevada,
Right.
but there's a need for 50,000 housing units over the next 10 years.
Especially with the
Reno.
Tesla project and the Tahoe Regional Center, absolutely. But in terms of where I think we've done a good job is the water security. We know we have our water, we have it banked, we have a stable resource plan. And I think that's where there's some nuanced differences about the water resources. But also, though, you have a different dynamic with the Reno City Council and the Las Vegas City Council, and you have the County Commission here, which plays a larger role than maybe Washoe County does. So there are some nuances that are, I would say, drive different policy conversations between the two regions.
Yeah, well, no doubt there. One of the big successes of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, and they're hoping to reproduce that with a new project in Fernley, was putting in infrastructure. Now, this was a private corporation putting in the infrastructure, but that really was what made the difference between companies coming in and going, we can get a grading permit on day one,
Sure.
Versus having to go through months of getting permissions and permits, etc. You've seen the city of North Las Vegas trying to emulate that.
Absolutely.
Are you seeing other governments in the region trying to do the same thing?
I think Mayor Lee has done a phenomenal job trying to get Apex open. We've supported those efforts legislatively, of course, and on the ground. So I think his vision to open up that for large manufacturing efforts makes sense. North Las Vegas has a lot of available land. Each city has its benefits and challenges. Henderson is more residential focused and small businesses. Las Vegas is limited on their space in terms of large business, and that's where they've focused. Folks, the cities work well together. So if Las Vegas has open space, they'll maybe put the pitch in, but North Las Vegas has the infrastructure that somebody's looking for. They're good about communicating and collaborating like that. I think that's been beneficial for down in Southern Nevada, and it's been working in Reno and Washoe also. When you have the mayors talking, collaborating, it benefits everybody.
We've got about a minute left.
Sure.
The Golden Knights obviously have been phenomenal for this town. The Raiders are coming. What impact is that going to have? Do you think people are ready for the impact that that's going to have?
I think they're excited.
In a positive way.
No, I think absolutely. I think, I think folks are excited that the Raiders are coming. That whole corridor where the stadium's going up, you're seeing redevelopment, you're seeing investment. And I think that's a great thing for the region. You're going to see more tourism coming in. And we know this, and obviously the Resort Association puts out an annual report on their daily statistics, and they do a great job with that. You're seeing folks want to see more than just coming to town for gaming. They want to have the experience. They want the retail. They want the entertainment. I think this is another feature that our resort corridors will be able to leverage to attract more visitors to Southern Nevada.
In which case, that means that more businesses will thrive because of that.
Absolutely. And it's great to have more tourism, the better our tax base is.
What a great way to end.
It is.
Paul, thank you so much
pleasure,
for doing
Sam.
this. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, always.
And we'll be right back.
Nevada Newsmakers tapings in Las Vegas are brought to you by the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hey, Dad? Are you learning? This place is great.
Huh?
You gotta try this. Wow, this stuff is great. People are gonna love it. Yes. Yes, they will.
St. Ives Florist for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next broadcast.